For those of you that have been following my channel for the last few months, you guys know that one of my favorite Linux distributions out there is a Gentoo-based Linux distribution called Redcore Linux. I've reviewed Redcore 2 or 3 times previously on the channel. About 2 weeks ago, Redcore had a new release, Redcore Linux 18.03, and that's what I'm going to take a look at today. So, Redcore Linux 18.03 was released just a couple of weeks ago. Let me pull up a web browser here. Pull up the announcement from distrowatch.com. Let's see. It was released April 1st. That's why I didn't review it on the channel, is because I was pretty busy April 1st of 2018, because April 1st was Easter Sunday. And April 1st, of course, is also April Fool's Day, which for those of us in the YouTube business, April Fool's Day is always fun. That particular day, April Fool's Day, of course, I reviewed Windows 10. I did an install and review of Windows 10 on the channel, for those of you that missed that. But Redcore Linux 18.03, let's read some of the release notes here. Redcore is a Gentoo-based Linux distribution which strives to be easy to install and features the LXQt desktop, the LXQt desktop. The project's latest snapshot release includes several security improvements such as running a hardened Linux kernel and compiling software with address space layout randomization. The Redcore Linux team is pleased to announce the availability of a new stable release of Redcore. It's mostly a security hardening focused release, so there's not a lot of new features to Redcore. Most of what was worked on was security and hardening, the stuff under the hood. The only new features we're likely to see is if we dig deep in the package manager. Their Sisyphus package manager, I guess, has some new stuff. We should actually read the release announcement on the Redcore Linux webpage here. Let's see, the Changelog, a resync with the Gentoo portage tree, of course, rebased the distribution on Gentoo 17 hardened profile. The Linux kernel is 4.14.30, the hardened LTS kernel. We have a toolchain update, Mesa 18.0.0, significant improved CPU usage. Okay, that's cool. Reduced ISO image size by 350 megabytes. That's always a plus. Sisyphus exposes new options, so mirror list available mirrors, mirror set index, change active mirrors. That's great. And I actually spoke to the Redcore main dev earlier today and asked him about the mirror situation. It's the very first time I reviewed Redcore, I think it only had 1 mirror. And then very shortly after that, they doubled that to 2 mirrors. And I think they now have 3 mirrors. So they keep adding mirrors, which is a real plus. Known issues down here. Screen lock doesn't get unlocked in live mode, so don't let it kick in. You know what? I think I had this problem the last time I reviewed Redcore. I could be mistaken about that. I remember reviewing one distro, and it probably was Redcore, now that I mention it, where the screen lock kicked in and I could not get out of it. I think it kicked in during the install, if I recall correctly. Anyway, what I ended up doing was I just let the install finish with the screen locked. I just waited like a good 45 minutes just to make sure the install completed, but I could not get back into the live environment once the screen lock was up. But I gave it enough time, rebooted the machine, and everything was fine. So I've downloaded the ISO. The ISO was 2.3 gigabytes in size, so not a small ISO, but not a gigantic one either. Again, this is the LXQt desktop environment we're going to boot into here in the live environment. The LXQt desktop is the only one that Redcore is offering right now, which is fine. They're all in on the LXQt train. That's a good train to be on. And when I first loaded this up, the first option in the boot menu was basically booting directly into the live environment. If you don't choose anything within a few seconds, it just goes straight to the live environment. So I just let it automatically load into the live environment. And we wait. Sometimes it can take a couple of minutes to get into these live environments. Okay, And we've come to a login manager, which is kind of strange to have a login manager for the live environment. I've complained about this in the past with Redcore, especially the very first time I reviewed Redcore on the channel. I got to a username and password and did not know what the username and password was. Of course, how do you know what the username and password for the live user is? I took several guesses. I tried live for one. Finally, what I ended up doing was logging in with the username root and the password as root, because there is a root user, but that caused me some problems during the install. You really don't want to log in as root. The username and the password that you're after can actually be found, let me see, on the Redcore website. For the live session, your username is Redcore, your password is Redcore. So, I'm going to go ahead and type Redcore, password Redcore. Go ahead and log into the live desktop. They really should try to change that to get rid of the requirement to even need to log in. It should just automatically log you in as that Redcore user. That way you don't have to worry about, figuring out what the password is. All right. And let's see if the VirtualBox guest editions work out of the box here in the live environment. So I'm going to try to go to full screen here, a full screen resolution. And yep. Awesome. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and click on the Redcore installer icon right here on the desktop that says Redcore installer. I'm going to go ahead and launch the installer and run through the install real quick. The Redcore install is pretty quick. I've done it a couple of times here on the channel. It's the Calamares installer. The first screen, of course, is language. Language English US has already been chosen for me. That's correct. Choose next. Time zone. It's chosen the Eastern time zone in the US. I'm actually in the Central time zone, so I'm going to adjust that. Choose next. English US has been chosen for the keyboard. We can test out that. Make sure it's functioning correctly by typing in this test field. You see I type this is a test. Keyboard's working as expected. Click next. Partitioning. We have the option of erase disk and giving Redcore Linux the entire 22 gig hard drive that I gave this virtual machine, or we can do manual partitioning and we can create the partitions ourselves. This is useful if you want to create more than one partition, like you want a separate home partition or a separate media partition or whatever you're setting up. I'm just going to choose the first option, erase disk. I'm going to let Redcore do its own automatic partitioning. I'm going to click next. What is your name for this VM DT? Password. We need to create a very long and difficult and hard to guess password. And then log in automatically without asking for a password. I won't tick that on. I like to be asked for a password to log in. Use the same password for the administrator account. Yep, I'm going to tick that on. So my root password and my DT user's password are the same. I don't have to remember two different passwords. All right, then we have our review screen here. Location is correct. Keyboard looks correct. The partition scheme. Yep, everything looks good. I'm going to click next. It's going to warn us that it's about to format the drive and write to the disk. So if I click install now, there's no coming back from it. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Of course, this is a virtual machine, so I can't do any damage to my physical hard drive. But if we were doing this on physical hardware, once you click install now, it's formatting the drive on your machine and it's going to go ahead and start installing Redcore. So if you don't mean to click that button, that would be the time to start backing up. All right, and it's unsquashing the file system. This is probably going to take somewhere around 10 minutes for the install to complete. So I'm actually going to pause the recording and come back in a few minutes once it's done. All right, and the installer is completed. In the Calamares installer, what you need to do here is you need to tick on this box right here, restart now. Click done, and it will automatically reboot your machine. You always have to reboot the machine to complete installation. And that's what I'm going to do right now. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and reboot the machine here. And this is our freshly installed Redcore Linux 1803. See how long boot up time takes. One of the things I'm already impressed about this version of Redcore is with each new release, the theming gets a little better, gets a little more polished. It looks like a more professional product every time I take a look at it. Yeah, before, some of the red backgrounds and red theming was a little over the top and a little too gaudy. Some of it was kind of really, really bright red. This is a little more classy. I like this wallpaper. Really, I like the look of this LXQt desktop. It's really, really nice stuff here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go through the menu system here and see what is installed by default here in Redcore Linux 1803, because it should have a number of programs installed by default because the ISO was 2.3 gigs in size and it wanted at least 20 gigs of hard drive space for the install, so should have quite a bit installed. Under accessories, we have Ark. Ark is our archive utility, is for zip, unzip, that sort of thing. Also under accessories, we have Featherpad. Featherpad is a nice, lightweight text editor. Let's see, what do we got here? This is Featherpad 0.6, a lightweight tabbed plain text editor based on Qt 5. Of course, they're going to try to use all Qt apps here in the LXQt desktop. Also under accessories, we have our HP device manager for our HP printers. We have KCalc for a calculator. That's the standard calculator in the KDE desktop environment, but it's a Qt app, so it works here. KeyPass XC is also here. PCMan FM. My favorite lightweight file manager, PCMan FM. This should be the Qt version of PCMan FM. It is PCMan FM-Qt. This is version 0.12. Really, really like PCMan FM. Alright, Clipper is our Clipboard Manager, our clipboard tool. I'm assuming if I click this, we'll get a clipboard somewhere down here and our notification tray. Let me check that out. Yep, now we have a clipboard here. Right clicking and left clicking does anything on it? Yeah, I get a little information popping up on it. I'm not much of a clipboard kind of guy myself. I don't use them much. Under the games category, we have both Play on Linux and Steam available. Are they installed, or does this launch an installer? This launches the Steam installer. Okay, so you agree to the Steam install agreement, and then the Steam client will install. That's cool. Graphics, we have FontForge, we have GIMP. GIMP, the GNU image manipulation program. It's basically, in the Linux world, this is our free and open source Adobe Photoshop alternative. GIMP is a fantastic program. Really one of the highlights of free and open source software. Because one of the big drawbacks for a lot of people from switching from Windows or Mac to Linux is the lack of tools like Adobe Photoshop and those sorts of programs. But GIMP 2.8.22 is fine for most people. For professionals that have to use something like Adobe Photoshop, what you probably would end up having to do is just dual boot Windows or keeping Windows in a VM just for that program, unfortunately. Inkscape is another fantastic graphics program. Inkscape is for vector graphics, where GIMP is for raster graphics. Also under graphics, we have LXimage for our image viewer, we have our screenshot utility, and we have Xsane for scanning. Under Internet, we have Kget, which is a download manager. It's one of the standard KDE apps. We have Conversation, which is KDE's IRC chat client. And by default, it looks like it's set up to connect to the Redcore Linux support channel on the Freenode network. So that is awesome. So you guys that need to get support from Redcore Linux, just launch Conversation. It's going to launch you straight into the Redcore Linux IRC chat channel. And hopefully there will be some people in that channel that can help you out with your problem. We have QBitTorrent for a BitTorrent client. Also under Internet, Quite RSS. This is a RSS newsfeed reader. It's not much to see here because we don't have any news feeds loaded up. But it seems like a nice, simple, lightweight program. We have Cupzilla for our browser. Cupzilla is a web browser, a Qt web browser, so makes sense for them to ship this. This is 2.2.5, version 2.2.5 of Cupzilla. And also they have the Trojita email client, which I'm assuming, similar to Cupzilla, is also going to be a Qt application. Let's see, if I go to help here, about Trojita, a fast Qt IMAP email client. Yep. So no Firefox and Thunderbird. Instead, we have Cupzilla and Trojita. Again, trying to keep with all Qt apps here. Office, we have the entire LibreOffice suite installed. We have Base, Calc, Draw, Impress, Math, and Writer. We have QPDF View for our PDF viewer. Under Programming, we have CMake and Sandbox. Redcore Linux, we have a category in the menu called Redcore Linux, and that links to the download page, Gentoo documentation, Kdenlive help, Redcore documentation, the Redcore Git repos, and the Redcore homepage. We have a sound and video category. In that, we have Cantata. Cantata is a audio player. It is an MPD, music player daemon audio player. Pretty cool little audio player. If you don't mind setting up MPD. Setting up MPD is not that difficult, though. We have GUVC View. GUVC View is a webcam app. Similar to how on my screen right now, the screen you guys are watching, me talking in this little rectangle. GUVC View is a program similar to that. It's a webcam app. K3B. K3B is KDE's disk burning utility. It is probably the best disk burning utility available. Free and open source disk burning utility available for us in Linux. Even though it's a KDE app, I usually install K3B on every system I install, whether I'm using KDE or not. K3B is that good of a program. MPV is our media player. This is basically our video player. Also under sound and video, we have the Pulse Audio volume control. This is, to adjust volumes for all our input and output devices, such as, in my case, mic, webcam, speakers. Also, under sound and video, we have Simple Screen Recorder to record your desktop. Similar to how I'm recording my desktop right now, Simple Screen Recorder does something similar. We have TV Max. TV Max is, it lets you watch live TV, I believe, from your desktop. Let's see. TV Max is free software, but its development is not easy. Okay, they're asking for donations here, but what is TV Max? Watch TV channels for free. TV Max 0.11. Okay. And there's already some channels here. I wonder if I could just connect to them. I probably shouldn't on video, though. But it looks like it's a really, really neat app. We also have VidCutter and VLC installed in sound and video. VLC is just a fantastic multimedia player. Again, it's another video player, but VLC is great for watching video in any format possible, including discs like Blu-ray discs. VLC also works well as an audio player. Under System Tools, we have About LXQt. This is just an About page, basically. Tells us the authors, thanks, translations, technical info. Also under System Tools, we have Qemu. Excuse me, that's tough to say. That is a virtual machine manager. Basically, it's a virtualization utility, similar to VirtualBox, which I'm recording here, this virtual machine. We have HTOP, which is our system monitor. It's an interactive process viewer. Basically, it shows us all the processes running on our system. So we're wondering what's taking up so much CPU or memory. We can find the process that's gotten out of control, and we can even kill that process, all from HTOP. Now that I have HTOP open, let's check on the system resources. Very low, actually. I gave this machine 2 cores of my 6-core CPU. it is using somewhere between 5, 6, 7% of that CPU. So that's not too bad. Pretty low CPU usage, really low memory usage. 425 megs of memory is all that's being used of the 4 gigs I gave this VM. That's not bad. All right, let's see. Back to system tools. We have K3B again. We have the KDE CDE menu. CDE Mu Manager, excuse me. That is a front end to CDE Mu. KDE Partition Manager for managing your partitions, editing your partitions. We have Manage Printing, which is the CUPS web interface. We have the Network Manager, which sits here in your tray. Is there any networking right here? I'm assuming that is that application there, the Network Manager application. We have QPS, which is a Qt application to display and manage running processes. So this will be something very similar to HTOP. Again, it's an interactive process viewer. Not as an attractive program as HTOP, but cool nonetheless. I'm assuming they included that because it's a Qt app. Maybe eventually, as that program matures, they'll ship that and no longer ship HTOP. We have the Qt terminal, our default terminal here in Redcore. And let's see. Let's go to the About page for the Qt terminal. A lightweight multi-platform terminal emulator. Qt terminal 0.7.1. And while I have the terminal up, what kernel version are we running? 4.14.30. Redcore, that's the LTS. Okay. All right. Also under System Tools, we have the Sisyphus GUI, which is our package manager. We have to be root to run this. So what was the root password I chose? Okay. And this is our graphical user interface for the Sisyphus package manager. All right. So this is the Sisyphus GUI. Now, by default, it looks like we can search by name all packages. So does this include all available packages? For example, the web browser. I really don't want to use Cupzilla. I'm a Firefox kind of guy. So if I do a search for Firefox, yeah, Firefox is returned. Category www-client, name Firefox. Available version 58.0.1. That's Quantum. All right, well, that's cool. Any other packages? Maybe anything else that I might want to install? You know, I like the Ranger file manager, which is a command line file manager. That's not here. Let me think of something a little more standard though. Thunderbird for email client. Thunderbird is here. And we have the option of listing all the installed packages. So this is everything installed on the system, I'm assuming. No. Yeah, I think so. I think this is all the apps that are installed on the system. All the programs. Yep. OpenBox, of course, is the window manager here in the LXQt environment. Anyway, that's pretty cool. Again, that's the Sisyphus GUI interface. Usually I do my install and removing software and updating the system in the command line. We may take a look at that here in a second as well. Let me get through the menu here. We have a Wine category. Wine is not an emulator, but it's basically an emulator to run Windows programs in Linux. It's already installed, it looks like, because one of the buttons here is uninstall Wine. So Wine is already installed, ready to go out of the box. Under preferences, we have the LXQt preferences, and of course, let's launch the configuration center. And we have options for appearance. Let's see what appearance gives us. This gives us our panel themes. Let's see. We have the ambience theme. We have the dark theme. The dark theme is a very dark theme. I like that, actually, if we had a lighter wallpaper. The frost theme. That's not too bad. KDE plasma theme. Actually, with a dark wallpaper, the KDE plasma theme looks pretty good. The light theme here, that's not bad either. Redcore daytime. Redcore nighttime. What is the difference? Not sure. System. You know what? I'm going to go with Redcore nighttime. Alright, we also have options for setting our brightness, customized look and feel. I'm assuming that's the LX Appearance program. Yeah, it is, LX Appearance. This is for changing your not GTK themes, your window themes, your icon themes. Let's see. Setting a color scheme, your mouse cursor. Let's play around a little bit. Let me open up the file manager again. Where was PCman FM? All right, I'm going to change the theme to add weight to dark. That doesn't look too bad. I like the add weight to dark. What about the Ark theme? Now, the Ark theme would look really good against this dark wallpaper. Yeah, I kind of like that as well. Ark dark, Ark darker. Of course, Redcore nighttime, Redcore daylight. You know what? I'm going to go with add weight to dark. That's not bad. The icon theme. Let's see. Let's play around with the icons a little bit. Do we want these blue icons? How about some dark red icons? Dark yellow. We have the new mix icons. The new mix icons are a very nice icon set. And of course we have Ark. What the Ark icon set is really nice. I may just go with that. I like the blue icons. You know what? Let's go with new mix. Let's just go with that. Anyway, I could play around with the icons and themes all day. We have, under the configuration center, we also have options for desktop, notifications, file associations, keyboard, mouse, locale, monitor settings, open box settings, power management session settings, shortcut keys, window effects, date and time, firewall, print, user and groups. All right, back to the menu system. I think we pretty much covered it all. Yeah, that is it, other than our sessions here. Hibernate, leave, log out, reboot, shut down, and suspend. Now I'm going to right click on the desktop. I'm going to choose desktop preferences. Desktop preferences. I'm going to see if we have any wallpapers that we can choose from. We have user, share, backgrounds, Redcore community, 0.ping. Okay. Is there anything else that we can choose? So what was it? User, share. What was the backgrounds? User share backgrounds. I knew that. This directory pretty much exists on every Linux system. User share backgrounds. Redcore community. 0 is the default background. I'm going to choose generic 0 and see what that is. Hit apply. Looks like it's the same one. What is Jupiter 0? Oh, I like that. Oh, yeah. That is a pretty cool wallpaper. Let's see. If we go up a directory, there's a nature directory. Let's see. After rain. Yeah, that's pretty cool, too. I'm just going to choose some at random. We have a snow one. What else do we have? Just playing around with wallpapers. I could play around with wallpapers all day. That is a really nice photo there. But you know what? For sake of time, I'm just going to go with one. And I'm going to go with this Jupiter one. That is awesome. Whoever made that, great job on that wallpaper. Alright, so I've opened the Cupzilla browser and I did a search in DuckDuckGo. Yes, DuckDuckGo, guys. I didn't use Google this time. You guys give me a hard time about me using Google. I like Google, though. Anyway, I did a search for Redcore Sisyphus, their package manager, Sisyphus. And it links us to the Redcore Linux wiki, the page for the Sisyphus package manager. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with the Sisyphus package manager here in the terminal. Does Control-Alt-T give us a terminal? It does. I want to give a big thanks to the Redcore Linux devs. Control-Alt-T should bring up a terminal in every Linux distribution. There is no excuse not to have the terminal keyed to that key binding. I think just everybody expects that in every distribution. All right, so Sisyphus install, name of package, installs packages. Let's try it out. So I probably need to be root though, so let's SU, switch user, switch to the root user. And I did not type the right root password. Okay, now we're in Sisyphus. Install. Name of package. Firefox. I mean, as much as Cupzilla might be a great browser, I like Firefox. All my bookmarks are in Firefox. I know how to use Firefox. All the plugins I use in Firefox. And let's see how long it takes to install Firefox. Of course, I do this for a reason. Sometimes these Gentoo-based distros can be a little slow as far as package management. Also, Redcore, one of the few complaints I have about Redcore is the lack of mirrors. Again, they keep increasing mirrors, but they still only have 3 mirrors. What are the odds that one of these mirrors are kind of close to me? Actually, looks like it's pulling this down from mirror.math.princeton.edu, so Princeton University. I'm in Louisiana. Princeton is way away from me, but at least it's not on the other side of the world, so that's good. And it looks like it's going to be able to pull this down in about a minute. So I'm just going to let that run. Not terribly slow. Firefox is not a small package either, so. Alright, so Sisyphus install, name of package to install. Let's see, what else we have? Sisyphus uninstall package, of course, removes packages. How about to upgrade the system, update the system? Sisyphus upgrade. It doesn't get any easier than that. What does that command do? Basically, it runs emerge --sync and then emerge this thing here. But basically, it basically takes these complicated emerge commands and presents them in an easier to use format. Basically, Sisyphus is a wrapper for emerge, if that makes sense. So, it's emerging Firefox still. So I actually paused the video for about a minute while Firefox installed there. I would say it took maybe 2 minutes for the entire thing to complete. Not terribly slow, so not too bad. Other Sisyphus commands that might be useful, just like we searched in the Sisyphus GUI app, you can do searches in the command line. So Sisyphus search, name of package, a program I use pretty much every day because of doing these YouTube videos. Kdenlive. Is Kdenlive in the repos? So Sisyphus search Kdenlive. Yep, it's there. KDE-app/Kdenlive. Version available 17.12.3. Awesome. So if I wanted to install it, Sisyphus install Kdenlive. I'm not going to install it in this VM. To run the update. To do a system update. Sisyphus upgrade. This was released 2 weeks ago. Being a rolling release distro, there's probably a number of packages that need to be updated. So, wait a second and see how many packages need to be upgraded. I probably won't take the upgrade, at least not on camera, just for sake of time. This is more just a curiosity thing. This was released on April 1st. Today is April 15th. So yeah, right at 2 weeks, 15 days. And I'm still waiting. You wouldn't think it would take this long just to tell me how many packages on my system need to be updated and what they are. Because it's actually not updating anything yet. It's just going out and trying to determine what's available for an update. Yeah, this is taking a minute. I'm going to pause the video until this is done. Okay, and when I paused the video, I waited another 15 to 20 seconds on top of what I had already waited up to that point. And it told me basically everything that needs to be updated here. It's not that many programs that need to be updated, maybe 30 or 40. Do I want to merge these packages? No, I'm going to decline this upgrade. And that will conclude my install and very, very brief overview of Redcore Linux 1803. What are my thoughts on Redcore Linux 1803? Same thing I thought about Redcore Linux the last 2 or 3 times I reviewed it. I really, really like this Linux distribution. And what I really like about it is, even though I do have some minor complaints along the way with Redcore, it gets better with every release. Every time I look at it, it looks better, it functions better. Again, the package management, I'm complaining that it's a little slow. It's still faster than the last time I looked at it, which is faster than the time before that I looked at it. Again, the first time I looked at Redcore, they only had 1 mirror. The next time I reviewed Redcore, they were already up to 2 mirrors, so they doubled the number of mirrors, basically. Now they're up to 3 mirrors. I think that's holding them back a little bit. They need to add more mirrors. Theming. The out-of-the-box theming is really beautiful. This is a really beautiful LXQt desktop. Gentoo-based, so it's a rolling release distro. Probably not something I would recommend for the new Linux user, because maintaining a rolling release distro can be a bit of a challenge. You have to keep your system up to date. You can't go weeks. You certainly can't go months without updating the system on a rolling release, unless you want some major breakages when you finally do update the system. So I wouldn't put this on, your grandmother's computer. But for those of you that have been running Linux for a little while, know your way around a little bit, Redcore is actually a very nice, easy to use, intermediate level Gentoo-based Linux distribution. Before I go, what I would like to do, I want to do a special thanks to all my patrons. Ron, Brian, Carl, Greg, Carlos, Rob, Mark, Christian, Benjamin, Stephen, AK, Marcus, Kevin, Bob, Dark One, Jake, Interceptor, and Matt. You guys rock. You guys help support the channel. You guys make this show possible. Peace, guys.